Such a fascinating conversation to watch from Italy, Chris, because as with most things, there's a massive disconnect between commentary from academics and those who actually aren't on the ground here talking to people, and certainly not empirical data. But I spent the week before the election and many days post, and actually even over the weekend, speaking to family and friends. You've got a country that is in many ways, flagging a warning to a lot in the West. The headlines here are all about the cost of living. They're all about the problems of having an open, uncontrolled border. Nobody here is talking about the return of neo-fascism, not even the institutional left. Publications like, for example, La Repubblica, it's a traditionally left-leaning newspaper here. It calls Meloni and her coalition a centre-right government, because it is a centre-right government. And of course, Chris, it's a reflection on those who would have us think that politicians saying, for example, that traditional family values are valid is somehow some radical idea. Definitely on the ground there is a sense of fatigue. Definitely on the ground there is a sense of hope that this government might be able to bring some sort of order to the chaos. And of course that depends on whether the process of politics itself gets in the way. Everybody knows the reputation Italian politics has around the world for, let's just say, instability. There is a hope that there will be a cohesive, united, stable government that can actually bring about meaningful change for the Italian people. I spoke to a friend yesterday at lunch who, for example, had been away for most of the summer. Most Italians take August off. She hadn't been home at her house, had been away and got, my point is the only thing that was running power-wise at home was her fridge. And she got an electricity bill for €170. €170 having not been at home for a month. I mean, that's something that should concern anyone and everyone watching where this energy debate is going globally.
It's a familiar story, isn't it? Now, when it comes to border security, Australians know those issues well. And certainly when you're talking about energy prices and the cost of living now, that's the big issue in Australia as well. But what about this laziness then to, instead of welcoming the first female Prime Minister of Italy, so much commentary around the world portraying Giorgia Meloni as some sort of hard-right figure?
I mean, it's just, if it wasn't so serious, it would be laughable. There's no quotas involved. She's been a junior minister in a previous administration. She's been around for a decade. People I know who are deeper in this space than I am have been watching Ms Meloni for a very long time, say that she's, if you know Italians, Chris, she's a woman from Rome. I mean, say no more. She's pretty fierce, not to be messed with. She's ready. The fact that the left are around the world, and it's a shame, but it is typically the left media who rather than say, let's congratulate this woman who's achieved something incredible politically and for women who want to go into politics, the first thing they scream is fascist. I mean, come on. I say on a personal level, my late grandfather was a partigiano. I'm coming to you today from Sondrio, which is the north of Italy in the Valtellina region, and my grandfather and his brother and many others fought the fascists here. And fascism involves taking people from their homes and shooting them in the street and burning the entire village down. Fascism isn't saying, I think there's a place for the nuclear family and community. People need to stop being so lazy, and those with a position of influence to have these conversations in the public arena need to lift their game. It's so much easier to whip out a term like that rather than to interrogate with intelligence and a degree of analysis why Italians voted the way they did, why they voted to the right. Fatigue, financial stress, cost of living stress, fears about the EU, fears about the ability to pay their bills. I mean, there is a rising class of new poor here in Italy, and broadly, it's older Italians who haven't been able to keep up with the rising cost of living, and they are poor and they are falling through the gaps, homeless, unable to feed themselves. But, oh no, it's easy to say, there's a rise of neo-fascism in Italy than to say perhaps Italians have seen the way their country is going and don't particularly like it.
Great perspective. Great to get your perspective, Gemma, from the ground there in Italy. Better let you run off and catch your train.
Grazie, a presto. Thanks, Chris.